her brain fried. My lady Papa Zenny, had her lady popping Molly while she waiting on me. 여기 나의 area, 여기 my area. Keep on heading.
Well, you asked for it. I heard my bro did a car collection video, and y'all wanted to hear my car collection. And the thing is that I can't let him have it. I cannot let him have a better car collection. No way he had better cars than me. I just won't have it. Roll the clips of me beating him a couple times in my cars. Today, boys, we're gonna go over my entire car collection, starting from my first car I ever got. So it's story time. I'll even give you prices in the whole nine. Let's do this. So let's start with my first car ever, and that was a 2007 Silverado LT. It was pretty much a work truck. It had, cloth interior, and this was a car that my parents bought for themselves. So usually how my parents did it was that they would always purchase themselves a car for the family, take about 7 years to pay it off, usual financing terms, and at the end of that term, they would then gift us that car. Or usually towards the middle, they would gift us that car, and that would be our first car, and then they would buy another car. I'm so thankful for them, and because, not a lot of people have that luxury. And I got my first car, I think, when I was 18, 19, because I had to start going to college. So that was my first car. I loved that thing. I would buff it. I worked on it on my own. I put a 3-inch leveling kit on my own in my driveway. I was an 18-year-old dude looking up YouTube videos on how to do that. Oil changes, spark plugs, brakes. I would change everything. I literally modded the car to look like this, and I ended up selling it. I sold it for about $6,000 with 220,000 miles. Not a zero problem, and that was the beginning of my itch. I loved trucks. After that, I was a truck dude. That car, I believe, cost about 20 to 25K at the time when they bought it, and then that put me on a spiral. Like, I just loved trucks, and that's when I bought my dream. What at that point was my dream car. My dream car at that point was a high country Silverado. That's the car that I thought that if I ever made it, I would buy that car. And this one was a 2015, I believe, 2015 Chevy Silverado high country. And I bought it used. It only had like 10,000 miles, and this was the time when I had started going well with my business. So I started my business when I was 16, and it was about a few years of a lot of failures and being in debt. And then around, I think it was like 19 and a half, I started actually being able to generate income with my business, and it was doing really well to the point that I was able to purchase that car. So I sold the Silverado using those 6K, I used it as a down payment, and I was able to purchase the high country. Loved that car. 6.2 liter engine. It was a behemoth of a car. And it was the car that I believed that at one point in time, once I'm like 40, I was gonna get, yet here I was 19 years old with my dream truck. Yeah, it just got worse from there. Because literally, we kept getting blessed, and I was like, you know what, now I kind of want a sports car. Never in a million years have I ever wanted a sports car. I've always was a truck guy, but I'm like, I already paid this car off, and I'm making enough to be able to buy a sports car. Why not buy a second car? And oh boy, was that a bad decision. That was, let me tell you what was my second car. I bought a 2014 1 out of 100 Corvette Hennessy edition. It was 700 horsepower. I was 20 years old, and that was my first sports car. Needless to say, that thing popped my sports car cherry, and after that, I was addicted. I was addicted, and it was the best. That is, till this day, believe it or not, I'm gonna go through this whole list. This car was my favorite car. It was just nasty. It sounded mean. It was fast. It turned heads at the time. It was my favorite car, period. And maybe it was that high, the adrenaline of the first time of being in a sports car that still has me on that high. Every other car was amazing, but it just wasn't as exhilarating as that car. And I blew the engine like 3 times on that thing because I was stupid. I learned how to drive stick in that car. I was also a stupid little teen where this was a supercharged car, so I would rip it as soon as I would turn it on in the mornings on a cold engine. Like I was an idiot. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. Therefore, I had to replace the engine like 3 times. So I bought that one for $50K, and I bought that one cash actually from a private seller. Again, super rare car. I was excited, loved that thing. It was the first time that I was actually in a car that was fast, like literally fast, and it was a bug after that. After the engine blowing up so many times, I'm like, I gotta get rid of this thing. I ended up selling it for a good price. The guy did know the engine blew up because he also knew the mechanic that worked on it, so it was a pretty good deal. And he decided to buy it because he would work on it, and I used that money to buy a Porsche, a 911S. Man, oh man, like at this point, I'm just climbing ranks. Like now it's just a high. Now I'm just like, I need another one and another one. This one was beautiful. So this one was about 100 grand, fully out the door with taxes and the whole nine. It was like 97 or something like that. So it was about $100,000. Man, this car was sexy. This is the first car I ever wrapped. I wrapped this thing matte green because I wanted it to be more youthful. Usually Porsches are a bunch of old white men driving it. I wanted it to be or look cooler, and it worked because people would take pictures of this thing all the time. But I loved it. This is the best driver's car. If you're a purist, if you like cars because you love to drive, you love Porsches, period. And you cannot argue. Like, you just can't argue that. It's not the fastest car. It's not the best looking car. It's not gonna get you like turns all the time like other cars, but it's the best handling car, period. It's so well balanced. When you're in the car and you're shifting with the paddles, you feel like a NASCAR driver. I don't know what Porsche does. It's the best in its game, and it's still to this day the car that I could buy and keep for like 2 years because that's how much I loved it. But I didn't. I wanted something more. So in that car is the first time I beat actually my brother in his car that was 200 horsepower better. But since this car gripped better off the line, it was more than enough. And that's what makes Porsche amazing. But you know, through all this change, right? I changed cars like socks, and there was a tactic to it. We talked about it in videos. There's one thing that's always stayed the same. There's one thing that's always remained. There's one thing that I always wear that's always the same. And that, boys, is our sponsor, Anson Belts. I kid you not. I kid you not. The first day that I opened this office was 2016, April of 2016. I already was working with Anson Belts at that time. Since that time, I have never worn another belt. And that there lets me know why this product is so amazing. This is why we love to work with Anson Belts, our sponsor of today's video, because this is a product that I have been using for 4 to 5 years, and I can tell you, if you're a guy that likes design, if you're a guy that likes good things, but you know, you don't want to spend a lot of money, this is something you need. See, every dude needs a belt. Everybody uses it, right? It's a style accessory that can help you dress better, and it keeps your pants up. However, not all belts are made the same. See, Anson Belts doesn't use holes like traditional belts where you have to jump these huge 1.5-inch jumps between holes where the belt can either be too tight or too loose. Anson Belts uses a track system that adjusts by 1/4 inches. The cool thing with that is that you get the perfect fit every time, and if your body fluctuates throughout the day that you feel more bloated or you ate a lot, you can quickly adjust the belt to make sure it's always comfortable while still holding your pants up. Moreover, it's a breeze to put on and off, and because it doesn't have any holes, not only does it look more sleek and modern when you wear this belt, but also it doesn't create those annoying creases that happen when you use the same hole on your belt every time. The best part is, boys, that if you guys click the link down below, they have a gift set. This gift set's amazing because it lets you choose between 3 belt straps and 2 buckles, or 2 belt straps and 3 buckles, and they're completely interchangeable, meaning you get a total of 6 different belt combinations because you can change the buckles and straps, giving you a whole belt collection. And mark my words, you buy this is going to be the only belt collection you'll ever need, because I can speak from experience. I've been using them for about 4, almost 5 years now, and I'll never go back to regular belts. I just won't. And if you click that link down below and check it out, I promise you won't either. They're that amazing. If you guys want to check out our sponsor, Anson Belts, they're going to be linked down below. But now, let's keep rolling with this list. After that, grabbed my Porsche. At this point, I still have my truck, by the way. I had the Porsche, and I was like, it's time for change. So we go in, and I get the GTS. The GTS had just dropped at the time, the Mercedes GTS, and I loved that thing. I just thought it looked, I don't know why, I know it looked like a shoe, but I loved the design of it. I loved the long nose, everything about it. It was a head turner at the time. And that one, I believe, cost me about 115 to 120K at the time out the door. It had only like 500 miles when I bought it, so it was really low on miles, and I love AMGs. I love how fast they are, and I love how they sound. Probably the best sounding engine that you can buy. That twin turbo V8 is sexy, and the top end, it's unstoppable. Because at the same time, Juan bought a GTR, I believe, and he had it completely tuned. Mine was stock, and on a rolling race, I would take him out any day. That's what I loved about him. Later on the road, I ended up modding it with like blowout valves, better exhaust, the tune, and the whole nine, and just the crackle pops were amazing. However, this car, again, was one of my favorites. Yeah, definitely a head turner. Every time I would go down to South Beach, if you want to feel like a celebrity, you ride down South Beach with one of your sports cars, people will literally stop you and be like, yo, this is so cool. And it's usually men. But again, if you want that, you get it really well in South Beach. So this car, one of my favorite cars, again, sounded amazing. And on the track, it was a beast. But then we go into my dream car that I never thought would be my dream car. That was the McLaren 570. At the time, I bought I believe it was a 2017 or 2018. So it was pretty much new. Again, very low miles. It had like 1,000 miles on it or something like that, maybe less than that. It was electric blue, and I could not get over those doors. So now you can find McLarens, I believe, for like 140, maybe less than that, which is, to me, an amazing, amazing deal for the car. This is, in my opinion, out of all sports cars or supercars, Lambo, Ferrari, I've driven them all, this has to be the best car. It doesn't hold value, it's trash when it comes to value, but how fast it is, how light it is, it's amazing. So I bought this car, it was about 180K at the time. It already came with this electric blue wrap, which was just so captivating. It was such a fast car. Like, this is the first car that I broke. I think I went almost 170 miles per hour out in Mexico. I kid you not, it was exhilarating. This car felt like it was floating. This was pre me being a dad and being married days, so I was kind of stupid at the time. Definitely don't recommend it, but it was just an amazing piece of machinery. One of my favorite cars, hands down. Definitely an attention getter, so it gets kind of boring after a while, or annoying. But it kind of comes with the turf when you buy this type of car. You're gonna expect the whole, oh, what do you do for a living type of question, but most people think that you buy these cars to impress women. Women really could give a rat's ass. Like, most of the people that are gonna come up to you are gonna be men, just so you know. So if you want a sausage fest, buy supercars. I was tired of the McLaren. I wanted something different. I felt like I was growing up. Again, I went through phases. I feel like every car is just a phase in my life, and I wanted something more luxurious. So I went with the Bentley. I wanted like a boss's car, right? And I was in between a Bentley and a Rolls Royce. The only reason I didn't do the Rolls Royce at the time was just because, like, I felt it was too old for me. You know, like a Rolls Royce, I feel is like you should be driven in. Whereas a Bentley, it's sort of similar, but you could still drive it. And the specific Bentley I got was a 1 out of 99 from factory GT3R. It came with the $20,000 Akrapovic exhaust. It came with laser deflection. It also came with like custom, what was it, Avanti? I don't remember the brand name of the wheels, but the wheels were almost 20 G's, completely custom. That car was sexy. The interior, so just to give you an example, the sticker price on this car when it first was brand new was like $400,000. So we're talking almost of a $500,000 car. I had number 1 out of 99. I loved the exclusivity of it. Nobody else had it. It sounded insane, and the best part is that you had the comfort. You had that feeling of a boss, but when you stepped on it, that thing could keep up with any supercar you would put it on. I think it was borderline 700 horsepower because it was tuned as well. Amazing, amazing car. I hated it. I hated it. Don't ask me why. All those specs, you would think I would love this car. It literally sat in my garage. Because simultaneously, I also bought a Tesla Model X for my wife, which loved that car. But I also bought myself a Ford Raptor. And this was a custom Rocky Ridge Raptor, fully loaded with a 4-inch lift, 37 tires, 20-inch wheels, steel bumpers front and back, color matched, the whole nine. This was a legit show truck. Rarely do you have a show truck that get people to like stop you and be like, yo, that's a sexy car. This was that. It also cost $120,000. So it was pretty much almost $50K above MSRP for a regular Raptor. And I ended up paying for that. I got rid of my high country at the time, and I had that. And then that, I ended up tuning, adding downpipes and all this other stuff that put the car almost at 600 horsepower. It was a fast-ass truck. Like usually when I would race people, it would be like V6 Camaros or Mustangs. I would smoke the crap out of them, especially off the line on 4-wheel drive. It's like it was a sleeper, and I loved it because everybody after the race would be like, what the hell's in that truck? That thing was amazing. And because of that, I would always choose a truck over the Bentley, and the Bentley always just sat there. And it kind of was annoying that I was just wasting money. And the Bentley ended up costing, I believe, $180,000 at the time. The truck was $120,000, and the Tesla was like $80K at the time. So yeah, I would choose the other two cars over the Bentley, and the Bentley literally just sat there and collected dust in my garage. At which point, I figured, you know, I'm a dad now. At this point, I was already or about to become a dad. I'm more of a family man, and two-seat cars really just weren't as functional, and we weren't going out at as many dates with my wife because obviously she was in the final stages of her pregnancy, so it was really uncomfortable for her to go out during this time. And I figured, you know, we're also moving to New York. It makes no sense for me to have so many cars. So I consolidated both of my cars, both the truck and the Bentley, got rid of both of them at the same time, and I bought what I have today, which is an AMG G63, and I love it. This one was about $200,000, and it's just amazing. It's fast, it's just sexy. It's that type of car that you park and you always look back and look at it because the lines are just so aggressive and sexy. I love that car. I love the interior and this is a 2020 model. They spared no details on the interior. It's amazing. I don't think I'm gonna trade it out anytime soon. I might, you know, tune it and wrap it. I'm still debating that. Oh, I missed the car. Jeez, almost missed the car. So there was a point in time where I owned a Camaro Z01 1LE. This was a 2018 model, and it was the year the 1LE dropped, which when that thing came out, it was just so aggressive, 650 horsepower. All the aerodynamics that it had built into it, it was just a nasty car, and I was like, I need it. Literally, that car came out, and we just went to the dealer and picked it up. Stupid because it was brand new, and I think I paid $75K for it, and now you can find them for like $50K, so I definitely took a hit on that car. But yes, that was a car that I bought while I owned the McLaren. I forgot about that car, and literally I only owned it for about 4 months and then got rid of it. But now comes to today. I haven't had a sports car in about 6 months or so, and I'm itching. Like I feel like a cocaine, like a drug addict. Which I want to ask you, what car, if I were to get another sports car or supercar, what car should we get? And also, is my collection better than my brother's? But that's it from me in this week's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to drop us a like down below. Also, don't forget to check out Ants and Belts. They'll be linked down below. See you next time.
Her brain fried. My lady Papa Zenny had her lady popping Molly while she waiting on me. Yogi my area, keep on heading.